things for us. And a while back, I met this young fellow here near Walmart and started needling him. He was a Marine. And finally we started comparing. What outfit you're in? This one, I blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he had a little group he was meeting here, and that was called Iwo Jima Survivors. And originally there were 12 of us, and we're down to 4 now. But what we've been doing is trying to find, I hate to say the word stragglers, but those of us that don't attend regular meetings, and we like to meet here once a month. And finally, I was sitting at the house one day, the phone rang, a friend of mine, Al, said, I want you to talk to a fella. We lived at a place called Goose Hill in Schenectady. And he lived in Goose Hill, I did too. Now, I don't remember Roy Powell. And occasionally we'd get together, and I know we were together once or twice, but the other gang went together regularly. But what we wanted to do is, like Dick over here, Verone, Tom, we're all say stragglers. So this guy's been trying to get us all together as a group once in a while to commiserate, tell a few stories, tell a few lies, and get to know one another. So this is an attempt to get us together, talk about our experiences, and have a little social get-together. I don't know if it'll continue, but we're going to keep meeting anyway, the original bunch.
You know, I was in the Marine Corps, and I was only in 3 places, I always said. Parris Island, New River, overseas fighting.
They say that almost 50%.
Over 40% was on landing.
Casualties of the 1st Marine Division on
Yep.
Pollock.
Yep. We saw nothing but dead people, Marines and Japanese, and they were so blown up and stinking.
From the
and
hot
flying.
weather
And the Navy
tropics.
sent in 3 fighter planes, and they came down, and we didn't know what they were, and they sprayed. They went around the other island, they come back right in and sprayed us all. And before we got off there, the Army came in with cannons and tanks. So my lieutenant, Big Jim Porter I called him, and he said, Pollock, the Army captain is up in the hills there, and their Japanese are pulling out a 75 howitzer. See if you can go down and spot the thing in that. So I went and I did it, and here's the funny part of this, guys. Last year I'm at a golf course, and the Navy came in, and they were protecting the golf flags and all that, and the assistant pro says, hey, Pollock, what's your serial number? And I told him 343165, and he says, after a few minutes, he says, get in here. He says, you know, there's an article right in here, and he says, you were put up for a Congressional Medal of Honor, and you went down and you got your gun, and I had 250 rounds in the thing, and I spotted where it was. I found a seat, and I sat there, and I didn't move a muscle. And finally, some guys come out, and they were 7 altogether, alternating. They set the gun up, and they put the shells out, and they had it all, and I still sat there. And after they got ready and they had it loaded, and I just went, 7 dead Japanese, and I shot into the cave where they came out of, and I shot up the gun all loaded. And I never knew what I was put up for until last year, because when I was at Parris Island and New River, I was a drill instructor, and an FBI man came to me and says, you Pollock? I says, yeah. He says, here. And he had a letter, and he says, you got a Congressional Medal of Honor coming to you. And the Navy says, give him a Navy Cross, and the Marine Corps says, give him a Silver Star. And at the time, I had a platoon of old guys from Washington, D.C., and we had to give them a little bit of experience in military stuff and train them on the M1. And I had them, and then I had some Marines from the Netherlands. And that was the end of my service time. And I never knew all of this until last year. When I was first out of boot camp, and John Bascalone was my sergeant, and Louis Puller was our captain of the captain. And you know how those guys flip, and John had my rifle, and it wasn't locked, the bolt, and it went to the ground. And he looked at me, and he says, "Did you do that on purpose?" I said, "John, are you kidding?"
The worst place I was in the whole war.
Pellaloo. As I just got to say, the Navy never disclosed the real casualties.
And you know what?
Pellaloo.
When we were on
They
Cape,
lied because heads would have rolled.
yep. But you know, when we were on Cape Gloucester, we were on a World War I 4-stacker destroyer with 6 Higgin boats, and Louis Puller was on there, and he was on our boat, and the kid was, when he made the landing, he was zigzagging, he was his son, opened this thing up wide and hit that beach and put me up in the trees. And after we got there in the lines, he'd come down at night, they run a 75 up on a half track. It was a rainy season, and the worst place you could ever be.
Yeah.
In a Fox Hill, trying to get warm. I had water pneumonia. The corpsman said, "We got aspirin, that's all we got. Hang on." But that was one lousy place too. I lost my best buddy there.
Who they tell me was, I wasn't there, I had a friend of mine that was a lieutenant there. He said that was worse than you all. And you know what? When MacArthur went into the Philippines, they bypassed Pellaloo. They didn't even use it. So you lost all them men.
And he's the guy that wanted the Marines to go and take Pellaloo, MacArthur.
Right.
Yeah.
But he goofed up.
Yeah.
Then he took his men in and took them into the Philippines.
The worst place I was in the whole war.
Pellaloo.
As I just got to say, the Navy never disclosed the real casualties.
And you know what?
Pellaloo.
When we were on
They
Cape,
lied because heads would have rolled.
yep. But you know, we went to New Guinea, and we had to go to fight with the redhead guys. They went to be trying to clean up the Japanese who were left in the jungle, and that was no picnic either down there. They stunk. And we went down on a freighter, a Liberty ship, and slept in the hole, and then we had our 2 blankets and ponchos, that's what we slept on. And they had field stoves. We had oatmeal in the morning, we had spinach and spam for night, and that's all we ate. And that thing was loaded with nothing but ammunition. And when we got there, the Japanese were still bombing New Guinea, and we were on a barge unloading the cargo thing, and I said, my gun crew said, if they ever hit us with any bomb, we're going to heaven right from here. I'm telling you. But General MacArthur, when we were there, a plane came in with 9 fighter planes around it. And they all peeled off, and there was a DC-3. And who was on it? General MacArthur. And he came for a photo op. He got off the ship. I wasn't there. I was in the jungle jet. But they showed the picture of it in the Daily News. MacArthur returns with his scramble hat and that. This picture was already done to return it to the Philippines. It was unbelievable. And when he took off, all those 9 planes went with him. And then we were in Australia at the cricket grounds. He said they don't have any Marines in the town. He sent us out to Adelaide in the back, 40 miles in the outback. Did anybody serve with John Bascalone that went on to the other battles?
That's it. Iwo was the end
He
of his
was
battle.
where he got it.
He died there.
Did you serve with John Bascalone?
I didn't serve with him.
Because he was one of the nicest guys you could ever meet.
So they told me. Yeah.
His nickname was Manila John.
He was in the 5th Division.
He was in the Army first, you know.
Oh, yeah. He got out of the Army.
And he
came
got
to
out of
Marine
the
Corps.
Army and he joined the Marines.
He liked to play blackjack, I know that.
His nickname was Manila John, because he used to tell all the guys in the army about his exploits in the Philippines. That's where he got the nickname Manila John.
You know, when those guys used to go on liberty, them sergeants with John, they carried their 45 inside their shoe. I'll tell you, they were the roughest bunch. Me and my gun crew was sitting in a beer joint on the second floor one day, and he came over and says, "You guys get out of here. There's something's gonna happen." And we got out of there, and as we got down the stairs to the street, out the jukebox came from the second floor. I said, John, hey, we're having little fights with the Australian soldiers.